Please contrast this map with what we saw last week, because look how far Joseph has traveled. Okay, so last week we ended with Joseph being thrown into an extremely deep pit by his own jealous brothers. And now, in this episode, as Joseph is down in that pit pleading for his life, his brothers come up with a really evil plan. They take off his coat and they dip it into some goat's blood, and then they bring it back to their dad. But really, Joseph is still alive. His brothers are lying to their dad, and they're saying, "Oh, we saw this big group of traders heading to Egypt. So we sold Joseph to them and they killed him. And now we have his blood-stained coat. Ugh, those sneaky, evil brothers." Meanwhile, those traders are taking Joseph very far away from home, all the way to Egypt. Now, Joseph doesn't know where they're taking him, but he does wake up during the journey and he finds himself in a caravan with lots of other people and animals. And we get to see all these cool details in the text about the caravan, like how there were tents and how some people walked while others rode on donkeys and horses. And we even get to hear what some of the animals sounded like. There were sheep and goats and cattle and donkeys and camels. Can you imagine? It must have been quite a noisy caravan with all of those animals. Now, Joseph doesn't know where they're going or why they've taken him. But eventually the caravan reaches a trading post, and Joseph is told to wait here while the others go and do some trading. And this is where our map really comes in handy, because it actually lets us track Joseph's journey into Egypt. So we can see where he starts out in Canaan, and we can follow along to see where the caravan takes him. So the first stop on our map is here at the city of Jerusalem. And if we zoom in, we can see all of the important stuff that happened here. Like we can see the Temple Mount with the two temples of God right here. And we can see the city walls all around the city. Then, just outside the city walls, we can see the Pool of Siloam and the famous Gihon Spring. And just south of the city, we can see the ancient road leading down to the Dead Sea. This is the lowest point on Earth, 400 meters below sea level. But there's also another spring just east of the city walls. It's called the Spring of the Virgins. And the travelers would stop here to check their supplies and maybe wash their clothes. In fact, we even have a few extra details from the text that tell us more about this place. We know that there were vineyards nearby. We know that the people here had gardens full of all kinds of fruit trees. And we know that there was plenty of water from the nearby springs. So it sounds like a nice place to rest for a while. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the next stop on our map, the next city that Joseph came to. And now we're here in Jericho, which is known as the oldest inhabited city in the world. Just imagine all the people who have lived here over the past 12,000 years. And this is where we meet a man named Ani, who was in charge of buying things for the caravan. And he gives Joseph some money, and he sends him to the market to buy some dates. And again, we have some extra details from the text that help us imagine what this place might have looked like. We know that there were palm trees everywhere with lots of ripe fruit ready to be picked. We know that there were merchants with all kinds of goods, and we know that there were donkeys carrying heavy loads. But after a whole day of trading, everyone got very tired, so they went to the local inn to rest. And this is where we meet a man named Simon, who runs the inn, and he invites Joseph to stay in his house as a guest. And we have some extra details from the text that help us imagine what this place might have looked like. We know that there were spacious rooms with comfortable beds and couches. We know that there were servants ready to serve food and drink, and we know that there was a beautiful garden with a pool in the center. Now, Joseph didn't realize it yet, but he was very close to being sold. And next week, we'll see how he ends up in the house of Potiphar, an official in Pharaoh's army.